Another video here on the channel, and for this one, I'm super excited to talk about this. One of my favorite matches of all time. It might actually be up there. Like, now that I think about it, I talked about The Rock and Hulk, Shawn vs. Razor. Now that I think about it, this one might be right up there with that. And that was the Rock versus Triple H from Backlash 2000 from the MCI Center in Washington, D.C. And I'll just get right into it. This was WWF Championship match. And as far as the match, I'm just going to talk about the last 5 minutes, because to me, if you go back and watch that, and it's on, I don't know if it's on YouTube, but it's on, if you search it in Instagram, like The Rock versus Triple H Backlash 2000, it should be there. If you have Peacock, you can see it. But the last 5 minutes of this were just, like, wrestling at its best. Like, just the cinema, the drama, the theater. It really, when I think about it, it really doesn't get any better than this. And I'll start with the last 5 minutes of the match. And just to give the background, it's Rock versus Triple H, and Shane McMahon's a special guest referee. And already the odds are stacked against The Rock. And then Jerry Briscoe, Pat Patterson come out to interfere. And I guess a big storyline the whole night was, in going into Backlash, was that the Triple H had the McMahons, and Patterson, Briscoe, they had the McMahon-Helmsley regime, and The Rock had no one. And then so there was this, to help The Rock, they decided to bring Stone Cold back. And it was just kind of a one-off appearance because he was recovering from injury. I'm not sure, looking back, if fans were thinking he was coming back for good, or if they were aware it was a one-off. Again, this is pre-social media and everything, but I'm curious, looking back, how that was kind of interpreted. If fans thought he was coming back for good, or if they knew this was just a one-off kind of thing. But Rock is getting beat, and the whole night there was this on the broadcast, on the pay-per-view, there was just kind of the speculation where Stone Cold hadn't shown up to the arena all night. And of course, as I always reference JR and King, how great they were, and I'm going to reference JR much more and just praise him to the heavens in this video, because his contribution to this match cannot go understated. I think this is his, what's the word, like magnum opus, like someone's masterpiece. I think this was JR's masterpiece of all the great calls, memorable, passionate moments he's had throughout the years. To me, like I said, this is his Sistine Chapel. This is his masterpiece. But King and JR throughout the broadcast on the night are playing it up. Where Stone Cold, they would have, I'm sure, I haven't watched the whole pay-per-view looking back, but I'm sure they probably had cameras in the parking lot or where the wrestlers enter, just trying to tease it, like, is Stone Cold coming? Is he not? So that was just a huge part of the show. And then, like I said, at end of the match, Rock is just getting the crap beat out of him. And even during the match, too, on the broadcast, it was a lot of the commentating by JR and King, where's Stone Cold? Is he coming in? And of course, King being the heel, he's like, he's not coming. I'm sure King was talking trash in his heel-like way. But that was just a big part of the match too. The speculation is Stone Cold coming. So, but yeah, I keep saying, The Rock's getting beat by Triple H, Patterson, Briscoe. And then I remember on the broadcast, you could hear Vince McMahon saying Shane, or I forget I forget if Patterson or Briscoe were like the rest because Shane had gotten beaten up, I think. But you hear Vince say, "I want you to count to 3," and then JR's mimicking him, saying, "Oh, you hear that? He says he wants him to count to 3." And then right after that, you hear the glass shatter, and it just an eruption from the MCI center crowd, and this is where the chaos ensues. Now, like I said, it's might be my favorite 5-minute sequence of a segment or a match in WWE history. And the glass shatters, the crowd just goes berserk, and Triple H goes outside, goes to like chase Austin. Austin kicks him in the stomach, hits him with the steel chair, and then Patterson and Briscoe go into the alleyway, go to confront Stone Cold. And this is the best. This is where JR, his like contribution commences for me. His just masterpiece. But JR is going nuts. Stone Cold's music hits, and then Stone Cold, he hits Triple H, like I said, and then Patterson goes out and he goes, I'm like recapping what's going on and then trying to mimic JR at the same time, but Stone Cold hits Pat Patterson and JR goes, "Patterson." He hits Gerald Briscoe. Stone Cold goes into the ring, hits Shane with the chair. He goes, "Down goes Shane. Down goes Vince. Austin. And it's just, the crowd is euphoric. Like I said, it's reaching a crescendo, and then Triple H comes back in the ring. Stone Cold hits him with the chair one more time. And as Stone Cold then he leaves the ring, goes back the alley towards the back. And this was just so perfect. To me, this is just a perfect symphony, like being executed to perfection. As Stone Cold is going back, you see Linda McMahon coming with Earl Hebner, who weeks prior had been feuding with Triple H, and it culminated with Earl Hebner doing a fast counter in a WWE Championship match with Jericho and Triple H, and that was a classic segment too. I always remember that. That happened at State College, Pennsylvania. But as Stone Cold is walking back, Linda and Hebner are walking forward, and it's just one of those moments. Like I said, you get the chills. Meanwhile, in the background, the euphoria of the crowd, and yeah, it's just wrestling at its best. And then Linda comes with Earl to ringside, and Linda then shoves Stephanie to the side. That was a big moment too, got a huge pop from the crowd. But yeah, then Triple H and The Rock both get back to their feet. They're both kind of dazed. Triple H goes to hit The Rock with a chair, and Rock is in the spine buster. And then from here, it's just pandemonium. This was the best. Gives him the spine buster, and then goes for the people's elbow. And just, to me, the people's elbow was so historic. Just, you see the crowd, how crazy they would go, especially in this match too, because The Rock, he's been beaten down, finally on the cusp of winning the WWF title, and Triple H has just been on a roll, killing it, winning every pay-per-view, getting lucky. Vince helps Triple H at WrestleMania. So Triple H, it was just so easy to hate him at this time. He's chiseled, good-looking, and I was just so euphoric in this moment. But yeah, Rock gives him the spine buster. And then, again, it's just one of those moments where you get the chills. JR on commentary is just going crazy. He goes, "Spine buster." And you just see the crowd. You just see how berserk they're going. And Rock takes off the elbow pad, throws it. And by the way, Mick Foley, I love Mick Foley. He's one of the top guys of all time, but he talks so much trash about the people's elbow. I read his autobiography, kind of said how it was, you know, he was taking it literal. Like, how could an elbow drop be the finisher like it was for The Rock? Because, I mean, when has anyone ever used essentially an elbow drop as a finisher? Although The Rock made it look good, how he crossed both sides of the ring, bounced off the ropes. But I don't know. I kind of agree with Mick Foley, but I got to disagree here. The people's elbow was just such a euphoric move. It was more just the way just to see the reaction of the crowd, the way the camera shot of Rock's back to the camera, him facing the crowd, and just, like I said, the euphoria that takes place, the anticipation. But yeah, Rock lands the people's elbow, and in just a moment of poetic justice, Earl Hebner, he comes back in the ring, and just the 3 count. It felt like it took forever. Like I said, the crowd was, with The Rock and Hogan a couple weeks ago, how much the crowd was into the 3 count. Same thing here, but Earl Hebner kind of slow counted, and it built up the drama. And you get the 1, 2, and Triple H lifts his leg a little bit, and you think he might kick out, but he doesn't. And Hebner counts 3, and it's just mass euphoria, mass elation erupting from the MCI Center crowd in Washington, D.C. It was like as if the Washington Capitals had won the Stanley Cup. It was just absolute pandemonium. And this is what wrestling's about. And JR, again, I'm going to try and remember what he says. He just goes, The Rock has gone through hell and high water to become WWF champion, and it just nails the moment too. Like, I guess if you're obviously in the crowd, you can't hear it, but there's something special too about watching it on TV. His ability to just nail these moments, and this is not a joke. I put Jim Ross up there with the broadcasters who are in like the pantheon of broadcasting greats, the Pat Summeralls, the Marv Alberts, the Doc Emmerichs, the Vince Scullys. I swear to God, I'm not like joking. Like, he should be looked at in that kind of esteem, in that kind of light. And I use the word a lot, but it's just one of those moments where you get the chills, you get goosebumps. And I just remember very vividly, The Rock, he's celebrating, the crowd is going crazy, and then he goes on the ropes, lifts the belt with his arm. And those are just one of the moments where you get the chills too. You see the camera shots, the flash bulbs going off like they did back then. I'd always get the chills during those. I forget what camera it's called, but when The Rock would stand on a turnbuckle and lift his arms up, the crowd reaction during those moments, it's the best. It's why, I loved wrestling. And Rock, on this night, he stands on the turnbuckle, lifts up his arm, and JR goes, "My God, what a moment!" And he just absolutely nails it and kills it. And it's just, one of those moments where I just fell in love with wrestling, and just a memorable match, a memorable night. I guess it was a big deal. The Rock finally getting the WWF Championship, his second reign, and it just felt like he climbed Mount Everest. And just a really great memory, a really great moment, and something I just always wanted to give context on and perspective on. And like I said, you can see it in if you search on Instagram, Rock versus Triple H Backlash 2000, if you have a Peacock account. And usually you could see most things on YouTube, but I don't know if this full segment I'm talking about is on YouTube. But again, just an historic moment, one I've always wanted to talk about. And if you see this, if you liked it, or would love to just hear any commentary, feedback on it. As always, as I say at the end of my videos. But yeah, that was it. Rock Triple H 2000 Backlash, historic match. And if you watched, I appreciate it. And take care.